So here we are having this discovery on how to take your foot off the brake, find out where you can step on the gas and go real fast,
Hmm.
get to the things that you want to do. I mean, people I think need to sit down, and I think it's really, really hard and say, okay, if you're driving a car using your example, you can only go in one direction. You can't go in two or three different places.
Right.
And and most importantly, don't stop the car. Don't listen to the bystander. Obey
Right.
the rules and listen to you. I mean, so what do you think about that when people are sitting here right now listening and saying, yeah, it's easy for him to say, or yeah, I've tried all that. But, I think if we can take them for a moment and say, okay, where do you want to see yourself in 5 years, 10 years,
Hmm.
50 years from now? How can people, say, okay, I want to get this book. And I'm again relying on you went to the library when you were a kid, and the libraries back in those days, they were like, they weren't nice places.
Well, it was a little tougher than it is today. Let's put it that way. It was all, the card catalog and all those things that are, long gone. But
Yeah.
really, it's a lot cleaner experience, I would say, today, and
Well,
easier to find the information that you need. So yeah, it definitely was much harder when I was a kid, and but that is, as you stated earlier, yeah, I do see myself as a pathfinder, to use your term, and I wrote these books because I needed them, but I also knew that many other people would benefit from them as well. I'll actually give you another example of that. I was speaking at a network marketing company, their annual event. I do a lot of work with network marketing companies as well as real estate and health, chiropractic organizations and things like that, because that's a lot of, up here, right? Everything is up here when it's involved with sales and marketing and things like that. So anyway, I was speaking at this network marketing company's annual event, and I just finished speaking, and a husband and wife came up to me afterwards, and they said, "Hey, no, I really enjoyed your talk. I really enjoyed your program. Where do we sign up?" And so they actually joined my 12-week breakthrough program as well. Now, what was funny is the wife was the one who was, doing the company. She was the one who was doing it, and her husband was the one supporting her, which is great. I mean, it was really nice that they worked together. But her name's Sheila, and she had spent lots and lots of time and money and effort, trying to break through. Now, when she met me, she was making about $5,000 a month in her business. Now, that's not nothing to sneeze at. 5,000 a month, that's nice. It's a good income, but she knew she was capable of a lot more, and she'd spent lots and lots of money, on other training programs and coaches and so on, but she was still at that 5,000 a month level. Well, so I coached her for in my 12-week breakthrough program. Well, by the end of that year, she had gone from making 5,000 a month to 75,000 a month. That is a 15 times increase, 1,500%, which sounds impossible, but watch her video. I always say this. The reason I say that is because it's easy to claim anything, it's easy to say anything. And I never say any story that isn't already on my website. Meaning the person talking about it. You can see Adam, Tamisa, and Sheila, and many, many, many other people talking about their experience of being coached by me. So think about that, from 5,000 a month to 75,000 a month. And here's what's even more amazing. She told me that she's now working less to make 75,000 a month than she was to make 5,000 a month. Now that sounds impossible. You're like, well, but no, that can't be. But if you really think about what I've been saying, it makes perfect sense, right? Because here you are, you're driving down the road of life, and you have one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas. How much energy are you expending right now? Tons of energy to basically get not very far. So when I get your foot off the brake, you don't even have to step on the gas harder. You're already there, right? And your car goes zoom, and you're like, you know? And so that's why my clients are able to make, yes, well, way more money, lots more money, and work less at the same time, because you are no longer holding yourself back because of this head trash. It's just gone, and whoosh, hockey stick.
Well, what's in my mind is you're not making the same mistakes over and over again.
Right.
You've got
But you're
so
not
much.
holding yourself back either. These are internal things. They're subconscious. And
Right.
so, what I teach is the system that I developed is called the power habits of unconsciously successful people. Now, that sounds like a mouthful, but it's actually very simple. When you think about highly successful people, the people we all look up to, as the success stories of our time, what I realized after studying these people for decades is that the top 1% of people, of performers, of humans, are really doing things unconsciously that they don't even know they're doing, number one, and therefore, number two, they cannot teach it to you, right? So that's why, like Tamisa, right, who I talked about earlier, she's a seminar or was a recovered seminar junkie, right? She was going to all
Yeah.
these seminars, and everybody says the same thing: set your goals and work hard and believe in yourself and blah 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 blah. We've heard this a million times. Why is everyone saying the same thing? Because that's all they know. So
Right.
when I come in is I say something different and people go, "Oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Holding myself back. What? Foot on the brake, head trash. I never heard these things." No kidding, neither did I. That's why I wrote the books on them. You know what I mean? So that's what makes this so different and so frankly effective and powerful is like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to hold myself back anymore." And I didn't even know I was doing that in the first place. Boom. That's where we get the hockey stick.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, and I'm sure the audience is as well. And the question that might be in the mind of the audience would be like, uh, how long does it take? And of course, it's not instant. You have a 12-step program. You have to work with clients, and it's like, well, the image I have is like molding clay. You want to come up with that perfect statue. Doesn't happen day one. So we're addressing that to people who are sitting here saying, okay, I believe what he's saying. I'm going to get the book, and I want to be whatever I want to be. But I guess they need to have that spark inside of them that says, okay, I'm fed up where I am.
Right. Well,
Anything
I
else
mean,
to do?
to your point, Douglas, I mean, many of my success stories are very fast. Tamisa tripled in 2 weeks. Two
Wow.
weeks. Adam, 600% growth in 18 months. I mean, think about your portfolio on Wall Street right now. Think about the stocks and bonds. I mean, where are you going to get I mean, forget 600%. How about 10% growth? How about 5%? That's like a dream for most people. 600%, 1,500% Sheila did. Do you see what I mean? So it is pretty darn fast, and it really does come back to the things I've been talking about. You release the brakes. You have to go down the road faster. You just have to, right? And that's see, that's another thing that makes my programs and my coaching different is because there's a whole group of people out there. I call them the hustle bros. Hustle and grind. If you're not as successful as you want, you're not working hard enough. And I go, are you freaking kidding me right now? I mean, most people that I talk to are working about as hard as they can, you
Yes.
know? Not only that, number one, number two, think about people who are very, very successful. The Elon Musk, the Bill Gates, the Mark Cubans, the Richard Bransons. I mean, are they really working 2,000 or 2 million times harder than you? It's not even possible. It's not in the realm of possibility. So, and I mean, I watch people like that. I've studied them for years. And like Richard Branson is a great example, because what's Richard Branson's job is basically to walk around and be charming. That's his job. Walk around and be charming with great hair. That's his job.
Wow.
And he's making 10 trillion, gabillion, jajillion dollars. It's like, okay. And as I always tell people, Richard Branson doesn't fly the airplanes. He's not there flying the airplane. So he's on another level, you see. But the thing is, if you were to ask him, so Richard, what do you do? Well, just set your goals and be charming. What I mean? He wouldn't tell you these things just because he's unconscious. He's doing these things unconsciously. That means he doesn't even know. And, not to be mean to Richard Branson, but he's not much help really to the rest of us.
Well, I think the idea of getting the trash out of your head means to formulate how to step on the gas faster and what directions to take, that they become natural. And
Exactly.
so that I think is a secret that might where people sitting here wondering how long is it going to take, what's it going to happen? It's going to be, well, if you get in the car, step on the gas, go down the street, you're on your way. But if you sit there on the driveway, just sitting there, like maybe I will, left or right. You're not going to go anywhere.
Right. That's
The
right.
basic thing is so that anybody can do this,
Yes.
right? Anybody, no matter what their problem is, when they come to see you, you can help them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's people come to me after they've tried a lot of different things. And they really, in many cases, are very skeptical and they're jaded because they've spent so much money, tried so many things, and they've reached a certain level of success, but they're just not able to break through the ceiling, that income ceiling. And I go, of course you can't because you're only working on the conscious level, which is also known as the symptom level. Right. So think about this. Imagine if you have a toothache. You wake up one morning like, man, my tooth really hurts. What the heck is going on here? And you let it go for a couple of days or weeks, and finally, like, man, I can't take this anymore. This really hurts. So you go to the dentist and you're sitting there in the chair and you say, "Hey, doc, my tooth hurts." And the dentist looks at you, goes, "Yep, you got a toothache. Okay, next." And you're like, what do you mean next? I want you to fix it.
Fix it.
Fix
Yeah.
this
Fix it.
hurts. Fix my pain, right? He goes, "Oh, sure, yeah." So here, I write your prescription, and here, take these painkillers, and then you won't feel the pain so much. You'd be going, "Are you insane right now?" I mean, do you see what I mean? But that's what a lot of people are doing. They're just trying to mask the symptoms, right? And so what I do that's different is I go, we might need to do a little surgery here, But the point is, I'll give you some Novocaine so you won't feel the pain, right? And then we'll actually fix the root of the problem, right? And then once you fix the root of the problem, the cause, well, then you don't feel the pain. But see, most people are up here on the symptom level. Thomas Jefferson had a great quote. He said, "For every 99 who are hacking away at the leaves of truth, there is one striking at the root." I love that quote because that's what I do. I strike at the root of truth, which is the root of the problem of why you're holding yourself back in the first place. That's all the symptoms that are up here that people are talking about. Set your goals and work hard and, hustle and grind. It's like, okay, it's not that it's wrong. It just doesn't work very well.
Mm. Well, I'm convinced that the part of people with the affirmations way back, talking, talking, talking. No, no, no. Affirmations, doing, doing, doing.
Right.
And you're a mentor. You've been there. You've got to the lowest point in your life. As a lot of successful people I've met have come to that point.
Mm.
I just wanted to give up. The pain was too much.
Yeah.
But something turned him around. What was that
Yeah.
point? If I can get you to talk a little bit about what was that point that turned you around? That pivotal point where you were down so low.
When I was going to take my own life,
That was so low. What turned you around?
well, I mean, when I made that decision in 1992 to end my own life, I was living in Los Angeles. I was living in a little apartment. I had no money. I was in a dead-end job. My girlfriend had just left me. I mean, it sounds like a country song, but it's really true. And so I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I decided, I said, I'm just gonna, end my life. Now, I didn't have a gun, thank God. And, I really didn't know what to do. And this was before the internet. It was 1992. So I remember hearing somewhere or, maybe a TV show or something, whatever, that if you pull your car in a garage and you close the door, then you turn on the car and you asphyxiate
Rubber
yourself. I
dioxide.
said, okay, well, that sounds good because basically I just go to sleep and don't wake up, right? So it's not painful or messy. There was just one problem. I was in this apartment building and I didn't have a garage. I had this auto bays, like they were just open. You just pull your car in. It was just I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So I literally got in my car and I drove around. I was living in North Hollywood, California. I drove around and I said, I'm just looking for a garage that's open. I'm going to pull my car in and close the door behind me, and then that would be that. And
That's
believe it
pretty
or
low.
not, and this is true, I actually found an open garage just driving around. And I was just about to pull my car in and end my life. And then that's when I saw the thing that saved my life. And in the corner of the garage, I saw a child's bicycle. And I knew it was a child's bicycle because it was, had the handlebars with the white and the little things on them,
Streamers.
like when we were kids. And I saw this child's bicycle, and then in my mind, just a flash, I saw an image of a family, husband and wife, and maybe one or two kids, and they came home and they found my dead body in their garage.
Wow.
And I said to myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. You're going to traumatize this family, maybe for the rest of their lives. And that is not fair. You can't do that. And all that just happened in a flash. And so I pulled my car and just went home and I said, well, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be here. And that was the thing that saved my life was seeing that child's bicycle in the corner of the garage there. That's true story.
Uh, I was watching the images in my mind as you were talking. And
Yeah.
that from a metaphysical perspective, the dividing, guiding whatever took you to that one and only open
Yeah.
garage door,
Yeah.
and that bicycle happened to be sitting there. And
Yeah.
so that was divine intervention for sure.
I think so too.
Now, because of that,
Yeah.
look at all the books behind you.
Hmm.
Think of all the thousands of people that you've helped. And that, I think, is the gift. Everybody who gets so low
Hmm.
that they want to end it, take the easy way out. If they listen to your story, how many people can they help? And from that moment to this, here you are still being of service. And nobody else could write the books you write because nobody else did your way. You know, I like your analogy of, stepping on the, take your foot off the brake, because we all do it. Procrastination is a new name for that that brake pedal.
Right.
It's got to be something you address for people to say, how not to procrastinate, or mañana, mañana, mañana. So, uh, when somebody comes to you and they sit down for the first time and they got the big eyes, they're going to say, "Okay, I want to be rich tomorrow." Like, how do you handle them? How do you sort of say, "Okay, well, now we're going to start working with what's in here." How
Yeah.
do you get them to that first step?
Well, it's funny that you asked that because it reminds me of another client example. I was talking with one of my clients named Charles about this very topic, and I asked him a question that I ask all of my clients, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching. And I said, how much do you think your head trash is costing you right now? Now, he'd been reading my books, he'd been studying me, watching my videos on YouTube. And so he understood what makes me different, right? And so he understood where I'm coming from, my paradigm, and how the results that I get for people. And so I said, how much do you think your head trash is going to cost you in the next 12 months? Without batting an eye, he said $1 million. He
Wow.
said, Noah, if I don't get rid of this head trash, like you talk about, it's easily going to cost me $1 million. I said, I tell you what, Charles, first of all, I hear that all the time. I talk to people every day who say, my head trash has cost me half a million, $1 million a year or more. And I said, not only that, it's going to add up over time if you don't get rid of it. It's not like it's going to get better, right? You have to do something that's like, going to the dentist, right? Anyway, so I said, that's point number one. Point number two, I said, I tell you what, why don't you just give me 10% of that $1 million and I'll find you $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me a dollar and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, yeah, that's a good deal. So he decided to do that. He said, let's do it. So he literally decided to hire me on the spot and he paid me 100K, which is 10% of a million, right? So I coached him one-on-one for a year. Now, as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I
Uh-oh.
found him 1.8 million
There
in
you go.
just 10 months. So he gave me a dollar, I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal. And then he sent me an email, recently, and he said, Noah, guess what? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. He said, we just bought a new RV. He said, this is a dream I've had for years, but I never had the time or the money. And now he said, thanks to your coaching, I've got the time and the money that I always dreamed of. So I'm taking 7 weeks off. And he said, he literally said, thank you for changing my life. So it's really powerful.
Okay, what's in my mind is, did you get like a bonus for that other?
It was a good deal for everybody. It's a win-win-win. Everybody's happy.
Oh, that's fantastic. This has always been a pleasure. Let's hold that book up one more time and
Okay,
tell everybody.
there it is.
Oh,
Ding. Get rid of your head trash about money. And so, yeah, so the website, sendmeabooknoah.com. Sendmeabooknoah.com. The book is free. Just cover the shipping. Sendmeabooknoah.com. Get rid of your head trash about money.
it's the best offer anybody's going to hear right now. Easter's coming up, so I encourage everybody. Maybe they want to give a little gift of life to some people, and that would be a fantastic book. I mean, for free. Come on, just go to that. Uh, what is it again? Here, I have my notes. What is it again, Noah? What's that?
Send me a book, Noah.
Okay. My guest today has been the famous Dr. Noah St. John. Wow. A best-selling author, an amazing man who has helped millions of people. And I encourage you to go and get rid of your head trash. about money by picking up his free book. Send me the book, Noah.com.
And also, if you go to breakthroughwithnoah.com, that's where you can book a 15-minute complimentary business consultation. So either me or one of my coaches will get on a Zoom and we'll take a look at your business and see what you're doing, see what's holding you back, and then we'll give you a 3-step plan so you too can get that hockey stick growth like my clients do. So just go and book that at breakthroughwithnoah.com.
Okay, it's great to have you on. We'll see you next time, my friend. I want to ask everybody, please follow us, and we thank you for joining this whole report. We hope today's conversation was enriching and helps igniting a new perspective for your journey. Don't forget to support us and social media. Until next time, keep nurturing your soul, seeking knowledge, and spreading positivity. Remember, the growth of your soul is the most exciting journey you can ever embark on. Thank you again, Dr. Noah St. John, and God bless.